Well, hello there, this is Dan, and usually as a yearly tradition I did this on my Instagram, and since my Instagram is kinda dead and I'm more active here and my YouTube is more alive, so I will do this here. Before I jump into the actual list, I want to talk about some, let's say, mentions that's not really suitable for the list, but I still want to talk about them. First of all, we got two Meshuggah full live performances this year. Amazing stuff. I only wish they were released on DVD or Blu-ray or something so I could buy them and watch them, not on YouTube, but still cool stuff. Ginger released several singles, they're amazing, waiting for an album. Vardruna released several singles, amazing, waiting for an album, but since this is not an album, it's not on a top list. See You Space Cowboy released a pretty good album, although it didn't really click with me to put it on the list, but still I listened to it several times, it was great. I didn't find anything that deep to re-listen it again and again and again, but still a pretty cool album, worth listening to. There are some mathcore influences from time to time, so I got a little bit of neuron activation. Sungazer actually did release something. However, I don't like listening to them in a studio version, right? But that all makes total sense live. The live performances are really amazing. If you have a chance, you should go see them. And in my opinion, this music should be listened to during live performance. Now to the actual list. I will start with a little bit of a weird one in my opinion, because most of the songs were released in 2023. However, the full EP was released in 2024, so still, and I'm talking about Alluvial, Death is But a Door. I really love the song Death is But a Door. I can only recommend it again, and the music video is one of the best I've seen, especially like a metal music video. I think it's really worth watching, so Alluvial. And the next one is Aether or Aether, I'm not really sure how to pronounce, but kind of more underground stuff, but there are really good songs on this release. I really like the Ignis Immortalis. The music video is once again is really cool. They used the actual props, so the cool effects and this creature and the explosion, they're actual props, so they really made it out of physical objects, and I think this is really cool. So music video is once again is amazing, and I like this song Through the Portal, I guess. This is really starts with this Meshuggah riff, and it sounds like a boosted rectifier, and boosted rectifier is one of the best sounds in the world, so also worth checking it out. Next one is Fit for an Autopsy, The Nothing That Is. At this point, I think Fit for an Autopsy make Gajira-like music better than actual Gajira, so this influence is here, but they're still making their own thing, and I really loved the previous album. I really like this one. It sounds like real people played music and like real guitars. I'm not sure how they recorded the guitars, but to my ear it sounds like they recorded actual cabinets and amplifiers, so they have this, you know, punch, this thump or whatever. So yeah, on a good songwriting, sounds like metal. And now I think the three really important releases for me this year. I will start with Harriet, I think Devoured by the Mouth of Hell, the name. You know, I really like the HM2 type of sound, guitar sound, But as a guitar player, I don't think about guitars using this type of sound, and therefore I don't really know how to use it if I would write a song. But Harriot, they are the professionals of HM2 type of sound, and this whole album sounds amazing in that regard. They know what they're doing. Once again, it sounds like everything is real, music played by real people with real emotions, etc. And the guitars sound real, bass sounds real. And I think in our time it is important when music sounds real, and this is a huge advantage in our time. I really love the song Opaline. The music video is once again is atmospheric, super great. I think we have a comeback of music videos, it seems. But yeah, and there is this guitar solo with chorus effect on it, and it is kind of old school, and I really enjoy chorus effects on guitar, so this is a really highlight for me, and in general, can only recommend. The second important on the list is Ihsahn, and I'm obviously a fan of Ihsahn, and his new release is everything Ihsahn is, if that makes sense. If I were to recommend to get familiar with Ihsahn to someone who never listened to it, I will recommend this new album because there is everything that Ihsahn can do amazingly. I would also say that Ihsahn is the only person in the world for me who can write symphonic metal and make it not cringe. Everything else is like, I cannot listen to anything else in metal with symphonic elements, but Ihsahn somehow makes it mature with a certain musical taste and professional, I guess. So I think this is really unique what Ihsahn does. Another point that I want to make is I'm not really a big fan of catchy choruses, but once again with Ihsahn, I do love what he's doing with them. He has some catchy choruses he had in the past, in Emperor even, and he makes them now as well. And somehow, once again, they're mature, they have this specific musical taste, and yeah, they work for me from Ihsahn. And I think Blood Trails to Love is one of the greatest examples of great choruses in metal made by Ihsahn. And of course, the song is from this new album. There is also an orchestral version of this album. I didn't put too much attention into it because I was consumed by the metal version. It still has this punchy symphonic orchestra elements, and he really knows how to make an orchestra heavy. So yeah, but what I listened on the orchestral version still is an amazing piece of music. So yeah. And now I think the most important release for me this year, and this is actually this one. So this is Ulcerate. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name of the band, but the album is Cutting the Throat of God. For me it was an interesting journey because it was the same for me as with Meshuggah. When I listened to Meshuggah the first time, I didn't have enough IQ to understand, but I already liked the direction where this is going, so I told to myself that I will come back to it later when I'm a bit more clever. I don't know, when I have a bit more points of IQ, when I will be ready to unpack everything that is there. The same was for me with this album. So I put it on. I decided to myself, okay, there is too much to unpack. I need a little bit more in my head to be able to deal with it. And I came back to it a couple of times, and then it clicked, and I'm like, whoa, there is really a lot to unpack, but it's worth it. So now Ulcerate is one of my favorite bands, I think. They entered the list. Now there are 4. And yeah, I also listened other albums. I was listening them for hours. And how to describe it? You know, my favorite painter, artist, Künstler is Beksinski. And Ulcerate sounds like Beksinski paintings if they had a sound, if that makes sense. And I think this is the biggest compliment I can give to a piece of music. So this album is really, really recommended. But I also think that you will not enjoy it the first listen, because there's just too much to unpack in this music, and in general in their other albums as well. So in that regard, finding a new band for myself, this is the most important release for me this year, and also finding a band that instantly becomes one of my favorite. So that tells a lot. And yeah, I really tried to keep an eye on releases, and I'm sure I missed something, but these are the releases that come to my mind instantly when I think about this year. So yeah, here it is. Also, since this is the end of the video, I also released an album in 2 versions, with vocals and just an instrumental version. An instrumental version was a remake with re-recorded instruments. Well, I think it's quite okay. So if you didn't listen to it, give it a listen as well. I will not put it into the top tier list of releases this year because this is my album. How can I do that? But yeah, if you didn't listen to it, give it a try. I will appreciate it. And on that note, as usual, subscribe to any channel, hit the like button under any video you like, and see you next year.